Hi everyone. Today we will be discussing how to manage your child's diabetes while participating in sports, clubs, and other extracurricular activities. Throughout the presentation, terms such as type 1 diabetes, T1D, or simply diabetes might be used interchangeably. These are the objectives for today's presentation, which I will let you view on your own if desired. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So we'll start with the benefits of participating in different extracurricular activities. We'll then transition into extracurricular exploration, meaning helping your child discover what they're passionate about or interested in. And lastly, we will discuss how to manage diabetes while participating in these activities. So let's start with the benefits of participating in extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities, also sometimes called extra-academic activities, are activities performed by students that fall outside of the realm of the normal curriculum of school, college, or university education. Extracurriculars can help students show off their interests and personalities, and these activities also demonstrate their ability to contribute, stick to their commitments, and manage their time and priorities. These include things like athletics, student government, community service, employment, arts, hobbies, and educational or academic clubs. It's currently estimated that nearly 80% of all US students are involved in at least one extracurricular activity. There are many benefits to participating in extracurricular activities. One of these benefits includes helping to establish routines. A child's typical schedule includes many to-do items, such as attending school and completing homework, in addition to extracurricular activities like school or art. Managing one's time is not a skill that comes naturally to kids, so when children join school activities, it can help introduce the concept of time management and help them develop these skills. Academic achievement is another benefit that comes from participation in extracurriculars. Students who participate frequently in extracurricular activities tend to have higher grades, better test scores, and more generally positive educational experiences. Through structured activities, they also learn important skills such as following instructions, persistence, motivation, goal setting, and problem solving that transfer to students' academic success. One study even found that students involved in activities have a 10% increase in their expectations of attaining a college degree. Participating in extracurricular activities contributes to adolescents' character development. Students who participate in extracurriculars report higher levels of self-concept and self-worth. They also have opportunities to develop personal interests and discover their strengths and weaknesses, which is especially important during the adolescent stage of self-exploration. The participation in extracurricular activities builds students' time management skills, leadership skills, self-confidence, resiliency, and ability to accept constructive criticism, which are all important concepts to character development. Participating in extracurricular activities is also beneficial to students' social development. Group activities build teamwork and communication skills, which are necessary for success in the workforce and other future endeavors. Additionally, group activities provide opportunities for students to build connections with others who have similar interests and goals, which will increase their motivation to commit long-term to an activity that also increases enjoyment. Furthermore, extracurricular activities provide opportunities for students to connect with positive social groups that influence their ability to avoid negative life choices. Lastly, participation in extracurricular activities demonstrates the importance of community involvement. Students need more exposure to the whole community rather than the smaller school network, and participating in extracurriculars that creates a network between individuals and their community can be beneficial. These activities can generate a sense of belonging to the community as a whole, which in turn inspires them to be contributing members of society. So let's now talk about extracurricular exploration. When it comes to picking an extracurricular activity for your child, there is no hard and fast way to determine what the best fit for them is. However, there are some general tips you can follow in an effort to help them pinpoint their interests and translate them into participation in an extracurricular activity. If your child is showing interest in a particular activity, whether that's a sport, music, or club, it's worth letting them explore the activity to see if it's a good fit for them. Alternatively, you can sit down with your child to discuss their current interests and make a list. This will give you something to reference when looking for children's hobbies to explore further. Simply trying new things is the best way for your child to get life experience and discover new interests. Go on field trips to local museums, introduce books on diverse and obscure subjects, and try plenty of fun activities at home or locally. Even if you find a hobby that seems like a perfect fit, start slowly. Exploring different interests doesn't require purchasing expensive gear for every sport or sophisticated art project. Let them try it for a couple of weeks before making a big commitment, financially or otherwise. Maintaining interest can be a challenge in of itself. With any activity, it's important that the commitment to the activity is seen through for the duration of it. If they truly do not like it, try to create little goals for your child to complete while at the activity or provide incentives for completion of established goals. Signs that it may be time to quit or try something different is if they are no longer having fun or enjoying their time at the activity. If they consistently fight you when going to the activity, or if they appear to no longer be putting effort into the activity, it may be time to switch things up. Younger children, especially, often grow out of their interests and move on to something else quickly. While you shouldn't force your child to continue an activity that they no longer want to participate in, it's important to demonstrate the importance of a commitment. When they're ready to move on, work together to find a new extracurricular that they can enjoy. The last thing that we're going to talk about today is how to manage your child's diabetes while they're participating in extracurriculars. Before we get into the next slides, I want to emphasize the idea that you should not let your child having T1D keep them from doing what they love to do. Just as you may already be learning, you may need to add a few additional steps before leaving the house, but as you practice, it will become second nature. There are some legal protections in place for children participating in extracurriculars, courtesy of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. Section 504 prohibits programs that get federal funding from treating children with disabilities, like diabetes, unfairly. It gives students with disabilities the right to the care they need to be safe and fully participate in all school activities, including field trips and extracurricular activities. Section 504 applies to all school activities. This includes class field trips, sports, drama, band, student council, school dances, after-school programs, field days, recreational events, and school carnivals. The law protects children from unfair treatment in all activities and makes sure that students with disabilities have the opportunity to take part in them. If the school is inviting parents to chaperone a field trip, it is welcome to invite you as well. If you would like to chaperone your child's field trip and take part in the fun, then you are certainly allowed to do that. However, the school cannot require you to come in order for your child to participate, since it is the school's responsibility to provide your child with the appropriate care when on a field trip. It is the school's responsibility to provide your child with care during any extracurricular activity. This includes, for example, assistance with insulin administration and blood glucose checks if your child needs help with these activities. It means that the students should have access to their diabetes care supplies and permission to check blood glucose, eat, drink water, and use the restroom whenever necessary. Lastly, including extracurricular activities and field trips in a 504 plan can help establish what types of assistance and accommodations a student will need during these activities. It allows parents or guardians, students, and the school to discuss the issues and have a clear plan of how to approach these activities. We're now going to talk about tips for managing T1D while participating in various extracurricular activities. For all of these activities going forward, a general rule of thumb is to always maintain a full diabetes supply bag that your child can have with them and is easily accessible at all times. Consider finding a diabetes-specific bag to keep all of these supplies organized and easy to find. This diabetes bag should include things like alcohol swabs, juice and other snacks, hand sanitizer, a glucose meter and batteries, insulin administering mechanisms, whether that's an extra infusion set or insulin shots, an emergency contact list, and anything you find that makes your diabetes management easier. Overnight events can include traveling for a school event, sleeping at a friend's house, or attending a summer camp. You can provide written instructions for the adult who is going to be with your child that include descriptions of high and low symptoms, how to treat these different blood sugars, and emergency contact information. If your child is able to, practice diabetes management while under adult supervision. This allows a safe place for your child to learn how to problem solve on their own, while at the same time having someone to fall back on if they do not know what to do. Additionally, make sure that diabetes supply bag we previously talked about is full and easily accessible for your child throughout their stay. If your child chooses to participate in clubs and teams that occur at school, work with teachers and other staff to make sure all the bases are covered. Check to see if the school nurse is still on campus during the time that your child's club is occurring. Whether they are or not, however, be sure to communicate with the teacher leading the club and discuss your child's needs. Make sure that your child is wearing a medical ID necklace or bracelet, that they have access to diabetes supplies, and that the club supervisor or teacher knows what to do in the event of an emergency. We're going to go ahead and throw family vacations and trips in this presentation as well. Preparing for a vacation will likely take more time, but traveling creates fun memories that last for years, and T1D should not get in the way. Consult with the endocrinologist before leaving town and ensure that prescriptions, supplies, and anything else you need direction on are set. If you can, try to identify pharmacies and clinics or hospitals at or near your destination in the event of an emergency. When traveling, make sure to pack all of your medications into your carry-on bag and keep all of your medications in their original prescription bottles or boxes with the pharmacy label if possible. If financially possible, consider purchasing travel insurance in case you need medical care and miss your flight. While most TSA agents are aware of diabetes and the associated supplies, your child will most likely still be subjected to extra scans and luggage checks. Prepare your child for this and ensure that they understand that they are not in trouble and that this is simply part of the security process at an airport. Always inform the TSA officer when going through security that you possess medically necessary liquids and medications. It's helpful to separate them from your luggage during the screening process and identify associated equipment such as insulin pumps, freezer packs, or syringes. During the screening process, TSA officers may need to test liquids or gels to ensure that they do not contain illegal substances. Keep in mind that diabetes equipment, such as a continuous glucose monitor or insulin pump, can be damaged by the security X-ray machine. You are not required to disconnect from these devices, so ask for a hand security inspection instead. When it comes to sports, always check blood glucose levels before, during, and after physical activity. The way each individual person's blood glucose responds to physical activity often varies. However, research suggests that blood glucose levels often experience similar effects in response to certain types of exercise. Low intensity exercise such as walking or cycling over a long duration will likely cause blood glucose levels to drop during the event. High intensity exercise such as sprints or lifting weights will likely cause blood glucose levels to spike. And lastly, mixed intensity activities, which often include sports like basketball, baseball, or football, will result in fluctuating glucose levels throughout. Keep the coach in the loop. Educate the coach on the signs of high or low blood sugars and consider informing them on what to do in the event of an emergency. If your child participates in a contact sport and uses an insulin pump, consider disconnecting the pump during practice and competitions to prevent damage. Of course, in this instance, you will need to remember that your child will not have an insulin source during the event and will need to monitor blood glucose levels throughout it. Teach your child about the idea of self-advocating for their health while participating in sports. Practice their ability to speak up and be confident in approaching the coach if they are not feeling well or require a break from what they're doing. Assure that they know the signs of a high or low blood sugar and can effectively communicate these with the coach or their teammates. Lastly, be cautious when practicing sports in hotter temperatures and have snacks easily accessible. Physical activity done in hotter temperatures uses the body's glycogen supply, or the stored form of glucose, quicker and, in turn, may cause blood glucose levels to drop quicker than usual. These are my references for this presentation, and thank you so much for watching.